I won't deny it, I'm a straight rider. You don't wanna fuck with me. Got the police busting that.
Hey, what's up? Dan Ward here, Ward Wrestling Live. Man, I just got back a couple weeks ago, maybe a week or two now from Team Florida. I got a chance to travel with them and kind of be a part of that experience. And I got to say, it was one of the greatest experiences I've had so far being around the wrestling community. And today I've got two of our national champs that came back from Fargo in the Greco style. And one of you All-American too, right? In
Yeah,
freestyle.
I did. Seventh.
So two champions, one All-American. But even let's rewind. So far, their high school career has come to an end. They're both going off to Little Rock, Arkansas together. And between them, they've got 5 state titles and 3 national titles. And I mean, if you know, you know, it's Abdon and
Yeah.
Hoecke. Yeah, it's Abdon and Van Hoecke. So one's Brendan, one's Brennan. You don't fuck it up.
Yep.
So we got it here. What's up, guys? Man, that Fargo trip was super awesome for me. I'm sure you guys have experienced it in the past. I never have, but I did realize that the energy in that room is like no energy I have felt in a wrestling gym anywhere I've been so far in my short time. But anyway, welcome back. What do you guys thinking? Are you guys already set? Are you guys heading up to Little Rock, Arkansas already? Have you guys packed?
Yeah, I'm already. I trained up there in the summer this year, which I think helped me out a lot. But I'm already up there. I'm back down in Florida, so I go back August 19th.
Awesome, man. And you, Brennan, have you gone up there yet? I know you've gone up there, but I mean, have you? When are you getting ready to take off?
All I've done is really the visit. Like I went, looked at the school, and then I didn't do the summer thing like Abdon did. I trained here in Florida. I practiced with all the coaches around here in Naples, and then I leave 3 days before him because I have to move into our dorm since we're staying together. We'll be in the same rooms, and I have to leave the 16th to move in to my dorms, which I haven't done yet.
Oh, wow, man. Good luck to that. I'm sure they've got like surprises for you under your bed and stuff.
Probably.
Yeah. But so you guys have been wrestling together since you were 5 years old, against each other, with each other on traveling teams. I know you guys have been on same teams together, but from 5 years old to now and getting to go off to college together, what does that mean to you guys?
I mean, it's cool that we have them Florida ties with Coach Javi. We have 3 guys up there right now, me and Brennan plus Ty Lukens. So just keep getting the good guys coming in from Florida up there to Arkansas. It would just it would be great. Just building that program, building the Southeast. I think it's really cool.
Brendan.
For me, it's like I was more nervous going into it. Like I was like saying like in my head, like I'm not gonna know but going to school. But then when I figured out like I have Abdon, I have Ty there, like it's pretty cool knowing people going into it and be able to like go through the experience with like one of your like childhood like friends that you wrestled with when you were 5. And it's pretty like cool to be able to do that, like the next level of wrestling with someone that you grew up wrestling with. So it's like one of those cool experiences you can like relive because you grew up when you were 5 wrestling with each other. And now you're going up that next level and you're going to grow together wrestling at that next level.
And Ty Lukens is another amazing young man. I had the pleasure of being around him when he was in our state, and I know he's doing well up there. I know he had an injury and he was getting over that, but I think last year he had he was top 5 in pins in that conference or something. I was seeing statistics of him.
Yeah, I was pretty sure that was like that. I know he had a really bad knee injury, but he said he should be back next year. So it'd be nice. It would be nice to be able to wrestle with him in the wrestling room.
Man, that's awesome. And obviously I want to get into like some Team Florida stuff, but first, I mean, I haven't had you guys on since COVID. And I mean, I see you guys all the time. I'm at all your tournaments and doing all that stuff, but excuse me. What made, I know Javi Maldonado is an absolute stud coach and he's the man, and he's done great things for Florida wrestling, and now he's bringing Florida to the next level, and just an awesome dude. But is he the reason Little Rock was home, or what kind of made you guys when you were visiting say, man, this really feels like the right place? Either one of you.
Brennan, you can go.
All right. For me, it was more like the atmosphere, and like for me, like I wanted to start off like my freshman year, not at a big school. Like I was kind of like I'm more of a smaller guy type of school. Like I like a small school. For like me, the Little Rock is like it's not big, so like for me, it's gonna be I'm gonna be able to get in my comfort zone. I'll be able to, and it's like it's a nice atmosphere. I know the wrestling coaches and the wrestling partners I'm gonna have are gonna be great, and I just know also the wrestling room and like the people that support them in Arkansas is just amazing. And like being able to see that and how much support they have at that school just convinced me more and more like I like the school a lot more, just being convinced by like all the people they have supporting them with their program.
Abdon, as he would call you.
Yeah, kind of to hop on that, the facilities, it is a new program, so the facilities are brand new. Four mats, you got an RTC that's 20 minutes away. You can't beat that. On top of that, the coaching staff is just incredible. I think it's one of the best coaching staffs in the country. And then, we have a top 20 recruiting class this year. That's going to help the program down the line. We're not just looking at it next year, but, 3, 4 years, 5 years from now, I mean, all of us, having 4 or 5 years of college wrestling underneath our belts, it's going to be really deadly, especially if we keep the top 20 recruiting class coming through as the years go on. And just like Brennan said, I mean, the atmosphere, it is a small school, but I love it. You're focused on the important things here. You're focused on getting your diploma, and you're focused on winning a national title. And I really like that.
So, one thing now that we're on the college thing, and I just kind of experienced this taking my son around on visits. Now, obviously not the same level schools, looking at more Division II, Division III. And it was fun. But one of the really important things that I noticed, and you guys probably noticed too, when you guys showed up, they knew you could wrestle because that's why you were there, right? So
Yeah.
how important would you tell these young men and women coming up that are wrestling that grades are? Because I talked to your dad, Van Hoecke, I've talked to your dad, Abdon, and one of the big things they said to me was grades. I mean, we have top wrestlers here, but the grades really helped with getting you money, getting you scholarships, getting you funding, and really getting you into the school, right? And a lot of kids out there think, well, I can be the greatest athlete in the world and they're going to take me anyway. But if you don't have the grades, you're not going, right?
Yeah. I would say for me, like the athletics, like, yeah, you can get an athletic scholarship, but that's not gonna cover every single year you're gonna have to pay for college. That academic background of like your ACT, SAT score, those are like one of your major things, and then your GPA. Those like 3 categories is what's gonna like also get you that academic scholarship that will help you get into college and be able to pay for your college. So it's easier for you in the long run. So yeah, the grades are a big part into getting you into college. It's not just how good you are at wrestling. It's also how good you are in the school and in education wise.
Brendan?
Yeah, I agree with that. It's a lot of you're going to get more money in your academics than you are with your athletics. My dad always told me that, and my mom and dad both pushed me in the classroom. If I was cutting weight and slacking off, they were on my hind end about it. So I got a lot more money in academics than I did with athletics. And no matter where you go, if you want to go Ivy, if you want to go Division I, D2, D3, NAI, whatever it is, you need some type of good grades. Like you can't be, you could be the greatest wrestler, to ever leave Florida, but if you have a 1.8, then you're not eligible.
Yeah.
You have to be able to manage both.
And your parents, I know one, if not both, are educators, right? So I'm sure they've been on top of you with that. And I experienced that myself, obviously at the smaller schools, Division II, Division III. And I say smaller schools division wise, but we were also looking at smaller class size like you. Brennan, my son comes from a small Christian school, so the class size was important to him. He wanted to be able to
agree with that.
To his teachers and have access to it, and not just be a number in an auditorium. So
exactly that's another thing why I like academics. I mean, you're not going into an auditorium where you're one of 1,000, and the teacher doesn't even know your name. You're getting smaller class sizes. You can ask questions. When you're gone, wrestling dual meets, the teachers are they're there, they're present. They understand, that you're gonna miss, and they're gonna get you caught up in the curriculum. So I really do like that about Little Rock too.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, let's get into Team Florida. So you guys are both coming off state championships. You guys have been wrestling during the off season at wherever there was. Nothing huge up into that point, right? It was just maybe a national tournament here.
SCA, Fargo.
NHSCA's you went up to. That's where you won, right, Van Hoecke?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
you get a national title there, and then you get on with Team Florida. So how many years have you guys been going to Fargo?
That was my second time. I got hurt last year, so I went my sophomore year.
And you, Brennan?
This is my third time. I kind of want to correct Abdon. They didn't have it sophomore year.
Sorry,
they canceled it because of COVID. You went freshman year with me.
Freshman.
But yeah, I went my freshman, junior, and senior year. Last year I got hurt though, so I wasn't able to wrestle in Greco, and I lost in the blood rounds in freestyle due to injury last year.
So this year was only my first time experiencing it, so I can't speak on prior years or what happened during prior years. Just I saw what happened, but I wasn't there to feel the energy and see the team.
Mm-hmm.
How did you guys? What I saw when we went there is we had a lot of really good boys, a lot of really good girls there, and we come home with 30 All-American stop signs. We come home with 5 titles,
Mm-hmm.
males and females. Is that that's got to be one of the biggest years we've had, right?
I would say like out of all the country, I think that's the most people I've ever seen all 3 years that I went. I think this was the biggest year with how many people were there. And plus freestyle was big, and also the Greco show out. There's a lot more people than I ever seen before. Usually it's like 32-man brackets, not so big. Like this year there were like 128, 6 like bigger brackets, and I was surprised by that because you never have that many people show up after freestyle because people think, oh, I'm done. Freestyle's over. Okay, I'm done for the weekend. No more Greco. And I was just surprised to see how many people showed up this year. And I thought Florida did a great job, and Fargo this year.
Yeah, it was fun to watch, fun to be there. I'm glad I got to cover it for you guys, especially a lot of you seniors that maybe didn't have a lot of memories from there. I was glad to be able to give that to you guys. I know, Van Hoecke, this is the first time. Is this the first time you All-American there?
No, I All-American my freshman year. I got 3rd in freestyle,
Okay.
and
So-
then I got 1st this year.
There first this year. So, and this is the first time. So Abdon's like, I've never All-American, so I'm going to go there and try to do that. And not only does he All-American, but he wins it. So he doubles up. So you guys come home with between you, 2 champions, 1 All-American stop sign. What did it mean? How important was it to you? A lot of times we see seniors maybe not go and get involved in this, or maybe they show up just to check the box, but they're not really motivated there. What motivated you guys to show up and make the runs you made for Team Florida this year? And I'll start with you, Brendan.
It's the one thing I haven't placed at yet. It was the one thing that was, it's been on my reminders on my phone for a year now. So that's the last thing I want to do. I've placed at Ironman, Super 32, NHSCA runner-up, won a couple state titles. Fargo was the only thing I haven't done, and I really wanted to get that done. And it was just cool, going out with Greco with a national title. My last high school match, it was insane, and something that I will remember forever.
Yeah, and before I get to Brennan, there was a moment that I got to capture, that moment you won the blood round match and you ran over to your dad. As a matter of fact, I just got chills talking about it. It was such a cool moment because talking to you and your dad leading up to that point, I got to know how important it was to you two, because you both showed up for a purpose, and that blood round match was tough. I mean, there was points where you were down. There were points where you had to grind through it. And then once you kind of got your wheels going, it looked like you started to take control of that match. And then, of course, like every other match, the block gets thrown because it just gets thrown all the time at that thing. But once they determined you were the champ and you ran over and had that moment with your dad, talk about that moment.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, he's been taking me to, national tournaments like that since I was 5 years old up in Utah, Salt Lake City, Utah. And, we went all over the country together. So, I won my first ever national title with him when I was, super duper young. And I think it was Utah. And then to have him coach me on my last high school match in Fargo, North Dakota, and win a national title there, it was insane.
It was crazy. Yeah, it was fun to watch. Especially, that blood round match was there. And then, of course, the Greco match when you guys, had that embrace at the top of the steps. Of course, my dumbass, my camera was on the wrong setting, so I kind of screwed that up. Because I was back there videotaping you walking back and forth. So I had it on the video scene. And then the match started and I'm running around the corner. And by the time I get there, the match is over. And I'm like, shit. So I totally screwed that up, but that's all right. I think we found you photos, right? The guy,
yes, sir.
Jim Price, not Jim.
Yes, sir.
Thrall.
Jim Thrall. Yeah.
He messaged me, and so that was good. Brennan, man, how important was it to bring it this year? I mean, I know that it was your senior year, and it didn't look like you were just checking the box. It looked like you were really putting your effort in to get through this thing.
For me, it was more like, this is like the last thing I'll ever do in my high school career. So why not end it off in a bang? Like, I'm going out there just to have some fun. And I know I went out there to go have some fun. I know freestyle, I was upset with my performance, but like after that, I was like, I got another chance with Greco. I was like, let's just open up, have some fun. Let's launch some people. And that's what I went out there to do. And it was just felt good to be able to just win the title after that fact. And yeah, I really didn't see that.
I think the coolest moment was when you won that semifinal match. You kind of did this thing, like it almost looked like you were like, wow, I actually did this. I'm in the like it wasn't like a like the backflip moment that we got in the finals, right? It was more like it almost looked like you were like, wow, I'm really there, right? Was that talk about that?
But like for my semis match, I thought it was gonna be a dogfight going into it. Like I knew the kid was good, and like he won Fargo the year before that, so I thought it was gonna be a dogfight. And I went out there, and it was like I think a minute and a half tech, and I was like, wow, I'm a lot better than what I thought I was. And like I was proving myself that like in my head I think I'm something else, but on the mat I can be so much better than what I am in my head. And like doing that, showing myself that just gives me more like what's the word? Gives myself more like, yeah, like that. It gives myself more like hope, and like gives myself more like, oh yeah, I can go do this. And like going to that finals match, like after that semis match, I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna whoop this kid. Like I got this in the bag. Like I just went out there with so much like aggressiveness, and like I was like positive about it. And like after the semis match, it just gave me so much more hope going into everything else.
Yeah, because you almost looked that way when you got that tech. You got up, and I think I got a picture of you like clapping your hand or something. But it wasn't like it was like holy shit, this really did happen for me. And then you were into the finals, and so your semifinal match, Brendan, man, you're going into this match against the number one pound for pound kid in the country, the number one recruit in the country. He's an awesome kid. I know him. I've always got along with him and his family, and they do huge things in Tennessee for wrestling at the Boom Ranch. So you're going in to wrestle Cody Chittum, who just came off his freestyle. And first of all, you were surprised, not earlier in the day, you were surprised the day before by one of your old coaches, right? That showed up. And
yes, sir.
And he's actually a Greco specialist, from what I understand.
Yes.
So you had him there, and the night before, I know you guys went over some strategic stuff, and obviously you had a bunch of Greco Florida coaches there. But going into that match, I'm not gonna lie, I think a lot of us were going, "Oh man, it's Cody Chittum, right?" And and he's one of a kind. So we got you coming in, and of course, as much as I like Cody Chittum, you're my boy, right? So
Yeah.
I'm like, go Florida, right? And talk about going into that match, preparing for that match, and then when you actually got that win. First of all, it was like two bulldogs fighting each other because I was there mat side for it, and there was no give up in either one of you. And it looked like, and you can talk about this, it looked like once he started to get aggressive is when that kind of favored you, because you were able to kind of use his momentum against him. But man, talk about that match, and then the moment when you actually accomplished that, you looked, you went up in the air and you like kind of did your point thing. And
Yeah.
what was that moment like, and what was that match like? I mean, what a great match.
I mean, it's Cody Chittum. He's good, really good, and there's a reason why he's the number one pound for pound wrestler in the country and why he's the number one recruit. But this off season for Freestyle Greco, I've beat just about I've beaten Ironman champ. I've beat tons of ranked guys. I've beat a lot of good people. So it wasn't like oh shoot, I have Cody Chittum. It was oh shoot, I have Cody Chittum. This is an opportunity. Let's go get this done. And he doesn't wrestle Greco a lot. You can tell he doesn't wrestle Greco a lot. He's a freestyle, folk style type of kid. So I had I have some of the best coaches in Florida. Sean Sheldon, Mako, coach that came back with me, Paul Walker, and even Mason. Like they're all good Greco guys. They all know they all know how to scout someone out. So we scouted Chittum out, and I luckily got the job done. But it was incredible to be able to wrestle him and get that opportunity and eventually get the win. It was crazy. And once it was done, I was like, oh snap, I'm in the Fargo finals now. So it was a cool experience for me. And props to him. He's going to Iowa, and look forward to seeing him wrestle.
Yeah, great kid, great family, and I think his little cousin did pretty well there too. I was reading on one of the articles that was posted. But yeah, so good luck to the Chittum family. But I would be remiss if we didn't talk about that match. It was just an awesome match, and obviously in wrestling, it's a two-man sport. One's got to win and one's got to lose. That day was your day, and good for you. But it seemed like for both of you, the semifinals was that match. Like once you guys got past that, I mean, you guys bulldozed through your final matches.
Finals, I got a little lucky. Skellinger, he's actually he's a Greco specialist. I think he's a U15 and U17 Greco world team member or world team champ, something like that.
He's never faced the Abdon head pinch.
Yeah, I was going for it. I knew and said I was gonna go for it, and it was tight. And once he got to his back, he wasn't getting away.
Yeah.
I remember warming up with Brendan before the finals, and that's what we were doing before the match. Before the finals even started, we were warming up together. He's like, I need to work on my head pinches. I need to work on it. And I would go in for a bear hug, and he would throw a headlock in before as a warm up together. And then he's like, I'm gonna hit this on the kid. I'm gonna hit it. And I was like, I'll see when it happens. And then he goes out there and it hits, and I was just so surprised to see that happen.
Yeah, I couldn't even get my camera set. I couldn't even get my camera set in time. Literally, I was walking from the back where you guys were pacing to come up to the front to take photos, and it was over. Thank God Mason was there taking little shot videos and stuff. I was like,
well, yeah, Flo. When I went back to do my interview with Flo, they weren't the kid that won at 152 wasn't even done with his interview. So he stopped.
Yeah, and Van Hoecke, your final match. So you won that match, I think, about 5 or 6 times before they let you actually.
I would say like a solid 3 times. I teched that kid. I would say like the first like flurry we had, I was like a gut lock throw, and then I gut hit him, and then he leg fouled me, so it should have been 8 right there. But I told Verona not to challenge it because me and him were talking about it when the refs were talking about it, and then we go back in the middle, and then I do like an arm throw, and then 2 guts, and then it should have been a tech, but something happened, and I celebrated a little too early,
and that was it. And now you went cow catcher and made sure there's no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw you kind of just went cow catcher, ran him down, and just, yeah, you can't deny that one. So it was happy. Then the traditional backflip. I think I only got this part of you. I think you saw me post it. I got a much better flip photo when you were flipping at States. But
Yeah, I like that. That was a really good one.
but what a moment for both of you to get that stop sign and then be able to do the interviews with Flo. I mean, talk about that moment. I will start with you, Brennan. That moment where now it's finally done. Like you got the moment and you get that stop sign in your hand. Is it something that you've dreamed of?
It was the stop sign for me was like, wow, like this is something that I see all those like big guys have. Like I've never seen like all the number 1 guys I see have it, all that. And then like I never see like a number 20 guy that's ranked number 20 get a stop sign. So like it's really cool to be able to like get one of those and like be able to have it with me now and always remember that moment in my life. And I just gotta like thank my coaches and everyone that helped me get to that. And like just the experience was what made me like feel so good. Like being able to walk through that smoke, being able to be under the lights and let everyone watch me and show them what I had to do. And just being able to, I got interviewed by Flo. I also got posted on by Flo. And it was just one of those cool experiences I've never had happen to me before. And it was just really cool to have all that.
Weren't they busting your chops at the airport? Because they said something on the post like where the hell did it come from or something.
It was some kid that beat me was like commenting on the post saying, oh, that kid lost to me or whatever. I was like, whatever. He doesn't even have a stop sign. So why should I even bother talking to him?
Yeah, you should have sent him a selfie. I go, you did beat me, but I got one of these. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Finally having that moment, getting to the steps and hugging your dad, getting that stop sign, Brendan. Was that like, all right, man, this is the nail in the coffin for my high school career?
Yeah, it definitely was. I mean, first ever Lake Gibson national champ, first ever double Fargo All-American, I think first ever junior freestyle All-American too. It was insane. It was crazy to, go out with him. My dad's been in my corner, I've said it time and time again since I was, 5 years old. So being able to go out with him and, accomplish something that I've really been looking forward to all year and definitely put the nail in the coffin when I won the championship. I think it was just a moment of just to look back and just to realize how blessed I was this past year and, how many good guys I've knocked off and what I've been able to do. It's been insane, but the work doesn't stop there. It was cool for a couple of days, but, then it's back on the gym, back on the mat, you're working on little things that I messed up on to be able to, do big things at Little Rock.
By the way, there was another freestyle All-American that came home with you. So you've got 2 now with Gabby.
Oh yes, Gabby, I forgot. Yes,
Right. And
she's
then,
the first ever girl freestyle American.
yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do over there. I see Walker's got a coach coming in now, and they're really going to
Yeah,
touch.
she was a 4-timer. I was thinking in middle school when she wrestled in high school, but she was good. She just why Gabby is so good is she's wrestling with the guys. She's not wrestling with girls. She's wrestling with guys. She's getting her head beat in. She's giving some beatings herself too. So that's why she's getting so good, and I'm excited to see where she goes.
Yeah, and obviously Brennan coming out of that Palmetto Ridge program, and 2 of these programs, Palmetto Ridge and Lake Gibson, obviously 2 of our 2 of the best programs we have in the state of Florida, with Ison and his team and Walker and his team and George and all them. You guys have obviously had a bunch of great mentors coming up. One moment that sticks out to me is Tito. So Tito gets stuck with you in the blood, not in the blood round. Was it a blood round? No, it wasn't.
It was a match to go to the second day.
It was the round before. Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah, it's funny. So obviously, I'm texting Walker, and he's like, "This effing sucks," like with big capital letters. But so, I mean, obviously, you did what you were supposed to do there. I know you and Tito are like brothers, but you did what you were supposed to do. Fast forward to day 2. Fast forward to the blood round win. You become an All-American. The first person you hug is your dad. The second person you hug is Tito. He's right there for you in your corner.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about that moment.
Me and Tito, that was my workout partner. all year, you know, a little bit of last year. You know, we've worked out together. We've pushed each other. You know, I was there shouting that he better get a takedown in the knockout finals. Um, you know, we've really cool dynamic with us. He's a bit more scrambler, or he's a bit more of a scrambler than I am, and I'm more stick to the basics, get the takedown. But he's definitely elevated my game a lot, and I've definitely elevated his game a lot. So, you know, just having him, you know, that it sucks. I hate wrestling my teammates, especially in an atmosphere like that, and in the situation that I was in. I hate wrestling my teammates, but you know, I had to get the job done. And I mean, yeah, I'm glad he was still there supporting me. If it was the other way around, I still would be supporting him. So, you know, it's good that we know that we have each other's back, because at the end of the day, we are family. We are dang near brothers. So, you know, I'm still going to be supporting him next year as he goes on to try to win a state title and place at these national tournaments that he's been so close to placing at.
Yeah, and maybe end up with you boys at Little Rock.
Yes.
You know, some things that I remember about your high school career, Brennan. So your freshman and sophomore year, you didn't get over that hump. You kind of met our who you met in the finals there, and obviously he's one of the best to do it in our state as well, in Basel. And that was it was a rivalry there. I'm sure you were hoping to see him your junior year too, and try and get that done. But you guys were different weights going into your junior year, and you get all the way to the finals. And again, what people were saying was, let's see if he gets over that hump, right? Let's see. A lot of times on the big lights, he tended to not show up sometimes, right? But you really made a transition there after your sophomore year, where you show up now when the lights are on. You kind of really made a transition where we see you do big things when it matters. What kind of changed between your sophomore and your junior year that made you kind of pick up that ball and run with it and get over some of those humps?
I'd have to say it's mostly to like my coaches, like Blaine, and then we also had Verona at that time, my junior year. Like those two guys, like gave me the mindset of just having fun. And like under the lights, don't let that pressure get to you. Under the lights, just have some fun. Like there's like no worrying about winning or losing. Like at this point, like you're one of the best out there, and that's what they told me. They're like, you're the best kid in the country. So no matter what, as long as you have fun and show them what you got, that's all you got to do. And like me being able to do that in the finals match, and just I know at certain points in the finals match, the kid got hurt, and I'd go over to my coach's corner, and I would have Verona making jokes with me in the corner just to like make it so it wasn't so serious and just lighten the mood up. And that's just what those Blaine and Verona helped me do, is just like not be so tense and not be so like stubborn, and just open up, have some fun. And that's what wrestling's all about. It's not about who wins or who loses. It's about just the point of just having fun and being able to show everyone what you got.
Yeah, and after that state win, you really changed into something different, man. You really jumped levels after getting that under your belt. I mean, I think we all saw what you did on the national scene. And then, I mean, a fantastic match against Crook at the knockout. I mean, that was like nail biting, right? I mean, you two were two of the best time right there. It didn't go your way, but it wasn't because you didn't try. I mean, that you guys were going, it could have went either way. You had him caught. Looked like you had him caught there early, and he was able to fight out of that one move that you tend to get 99% of people with.
Yeah.
Around it, and his hand fighting obviously is something special when you watch those Crooks hand fight. But even from that point, it was, I think you came out of that state title, then you made some noise on the national scene right there before your senior year. Then we went into the knockout, and people were like, man, we really want to see this. And even coming on the other end of that, even losing that match, I think you heard around the room and around the gym, man, Van Hoecke, he's here, right? Like he's something special now. And from there, obviously, your senior year, this year at States, there was no stopping you. I mean, we just saw what you did, right? Like you didn't even, you just kind of ran through the field and did what you were supposed to do. So good for you. Congratulations. And man, yeah, you just really saw a different Van Hoecke, and now going off to college. Have you has there been a point where maybe you fell out of love of wrestling and then this stage of your life has happened where you started to pick up steam and you started to build confidence? Has it been a renewed love for it? And are you looking forward to doing it at the next level?
Maybe like there's those points where you're like, yeah, you lose those matches, and it's like, oh wow, I don't like this feeling. I hate this, but like there's also those feelings when you win your matches. Like those are the great feelings that you have. Like winning the Fargo title, winning NHSCAs, like those feelings are great. And just being able to like go on to the next level and being able to go to college is just one of those cool experiences you can like have. And I just can't wait to wrestle and just show like being able to train. Because I know high school's like one level and then college is just a whole nother like book to open up. And I just can't wait to open that book up and just have some fun.
Yeah,
And it's just
from what I understand, talking to guys that go off their freshman year, and I'm sure you and Brendan are going to experience this, and I know he's been up there already in that room, but you guys are going from being the best in your room to not being the best, I would imagine, up at Little Rock. And having to start from that stage again, right? Where you've got to build up into a new level, putting muscle on you, the hand fighting.
Mhm.
I hear about learning how to get off the bottom. Like this is all new high level stuff that you have to do at the next level.
it's like you're restarting your high school career. That's all it is for me thinking about it. Like high school, you go in as a freshman, you're the worst kid in the room, the weakest link. All these other juniors, seniors know what they're doing already. You got to go in there and get in your groove. So going into college, it's just starting like I'm a freshman again. And I got to get back in that groove of being like, I want to be the top dog in the room. So there's always going to be a target on your back in the wrestling room. So that's what you got to be ready for.
Brendan, both of you, what weight do you think we'll see you guys at Little Rock?
57 or 65.
You'll see me at 41.
Nice. And God willing, Mr. Hennenball invites me to cover the Scuffle again this year. That was a great experience last year. Little Rock was there. I got to see Maldonado and those guys. I think Ty at the time was still hurt,
Mm-hmm.
so I didn't see him compete.
And then you also have the new tournament up in Jacksonville in like November that maybe me and Abdon will go to this year. And hopefully
that's one I want to.
that's one I want to wrestle in.
Yeah, get a duel. Come back home.
Yeah, the Opens, right?
Yeah.
Are there somebody out there like what's the so I guess like being I don't know, I played like football and soccer and tennis growing up or whatever, but like when you're playing a sport and you're looking at the pros, you're always like, or the college kids that you look up to that you want to be like, and then you get to college and you're like, man, I want to go one-on-one with him or something. Like, are there guys out there at your weights that you're like, man, I'd love to wrestle that guy?
I mean, honestly, the kids coming in around my weight class, whether they're 49, 57, or 65, a lot of them I've grown up wrestling with. I've grown up wrestling with Matthew Singleton, the Killix, the Dean Hamidi. I've grown up wrestling all of them, so it's not like I want to wrestle them. I already have it. I'm just excited to be the best version of myself, and to be able to hopefully All-American at the national tournament or win a national title.
Yeah. Same thing, Brennan?
Mine's kind of like, I'm not a big guy into watching wrestling. Like I'm more of a guy that just wrestles.
Yeah.
I've never been a big into watching wrestling. Like, yeah, I'll watch the NCAA finals. Yeah, I'll watch those big matches, but like, it's nothing that like, hey, I want to wrestle that guy. It's just like, oh, wow, he's got some good techniques. I like that. I'll just incorporate into my stuff. Like, but there's like, yeah, I want to wrestle top dog in college next year. Yeah, I want to try to get those big kids, and I want to show those people at the D1 level that like, I'm here to mess up those rankings. I'm going to show them what's up, and I want to put on those rankings next year, and I want to be able to show everyone what I got next year.
That's awesome, man. And yeah, look, I think, what are we 3 years out of COVID now or something like that? Numbers out of COVID?
Something around there.
So that's how long I've been covering you two. So pretty much almost your whole high school careers. And now there's kids that I started covering from COVID just from doing this that are going off to college now. So it'll be cool for me to watch all you guys, like try and stay in touch. Maybe, I'd love to be able to get out to Little Rock and watch your matches, or if you're at the scuffle, my goal is going to be to cover you for Florida, right? And get some photos out there of you and video of you. And last year I saw, who did I see over there? Bretley Reyna was there. Castillo was there. Franco from Southwest.
Mm-hmm.
The Riviera twins.
The Rivera twins. Yeah. So there was a lot of cool stuff to watch. And now I know the Florida kids, right? So I'm like, hey, I'll watch him. And then even going out to the NCAAs this year, seeing our Florida kids, that we had a lot of kids in the blood round, man. If only a couple broke through, but man, if all of them could have broke through, holy shit, that would have been awesome. But it's cool, man. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys off on the next level. Before we close up and stuff with this, I want to ask you, so Team Florida, I never realized how important Team Florida was to growing our state until I experienced being a part of Team Florida. Obviously you hear the rumblings and you hear the positives and the negatives and the bickering and whatever you hear out there, right? But if we really want to grow our state and grow our wrestling, it really felt like team wrestling at the national level, seeing what California was doing and Illinois was doing, and some of those other teams was huge. I mean, if you put everything together, Florida came in 8th, right? If you put all classes together, which is huge for us. We came in with 5 champions. We're really growing, but you can see that we need work, right? We need our best in our state to really step up and show up. We need our coaches out there that maybe are not huge into freestyle and Greco. Bring in some freestyle and Greco coaching in the off season. Get your kids involved with them. Because there's so many kids in our state that, because I've taken 110,000 photos of you guys so far, I've met them, right? I've seen them wrestle. And when I showed up at Team Florida, though we had a lot of great kids there, I noticed right away there were kids that could compete at that level that we didn't have show up. And maybe not because they didn't want to show up, maybe a lot of things. Maybe they can't afford it, right? Maybe they haven't been practicing freestyle enough and they get nervous, or maybe in their room it's not coached or something. And I don't know, I'm not taking shots at anybody, but these are all valid reasons why I've heard from other people why we're not getting those kids. So 2 things. I think as Team Florida, and we've had conversations of this now that I was involved this year, we're going to really get into better fundraising to be able to provide, I call them scholarships, right? Each scholarship is $1,500 to get a kid to be able to go to Fargo that maybe couldn't go otherwise, that is good enough to compete there. So we need to work on that. The girls, we need to grow from 35 to 70. I mean, there's no reason why we can't do that, right? What would you tell, and I think I asked you guys a similar question when I did those interviews before we went to Fargo, where I said, what would you tell the younger version of you to do different than you've done now or something? But we have a lot of young Florida kids. Florida is growing. We haven't seen the generational thing that you see in other states, but it feels like it's coming. There's a lot of kids from 7th grade now to seniors going into their senior year. What would you tell those guys about how important it is to get on board and be with these college styles and go to Fargo and compete for Team Florida? Brendan.
It is important. Always to have, even Greco. I don't think a lot of people, you see a lot of the big name prospects. They don't wrestle. A lot of them don't wrestle Greco unless they're just trying to double up on a natty national championship. But it's just adding a throw or at knowing what position you're in when you're in an awkward position, because Greco and freestyle they put you in a lot of weird positions that you don't get into it when you're wrestling folk style. So being able to just know where you're at on the mat, know what position you're in, and know how to score from there. It just brings a whole different level to your game when you're wrestling folk style. And these college coaches, they want to see you compete. Like Little Rock, like Javi and Coach Neal, they both told us like they want to still compete in as much as possible over the summer. Even though we're training up there, they want to train as much as possible. So I think everyone that was able to go to Fargo from Little Rock, I think went from
And a big thing is how important it is for these kids to show up. Like, I know that when I was initially reaching out to colleges with my son, one of the first questions they would ask me is he going to be at Fargo? Is he going to be at Fargo? Is he going to be at Super 32? Is he going to be at Fargo? Is he going to be at Super 32? They would ask me that because that's where those are the tournaments that they scout the most, right?
Yeah.
So these young kids need to do this, right? They need to come here.
Yeah, it is important for them to show up. I mean, Super 32, Fargo, NHSCA's, Michigan Grappler, preseason nationals, all these national tournaments. College coaches are there, and there's opportunity there. I think Coach Ducks told us, I think it was at Fargo, maybe at Junior Duels. He's like, everyone straps up the same as you. They all practice and they all train the same as you. It's just a name. You don't wrestle the name, you wrestle the person. And that's another thing that I went in about Chittum about. His name, he's got a big name. Don't get me wrong. A lot of people fear him, but I was just gonna go out there and bang with him. But it is important to show up and be aware of the opportunity that's available. All it takes is one good kid for coach to be like, oh shoot, like he beat him, like there's his potential, and then you start and get recruited and it changes your life.
Yeah, it's awesome. Brennan, I mean, what would you tell our kids in Florida, boys and girls, how important it is to be a part of Team Florida and kind of help grow our state?
I was going to add on to Abdon, like the coaches there, like I want to give an example, like Ethan Vergara. He was at a D2 school. He's after Fargo. He's at a D1 school. He went from, I forgot what school, but now he's at Chattanooga. That's how big Fargo can be. You can go from a regular college and then a D1 coach sees you there and you can get to that next level right there on the spot.
He just made the announcement for Ethan.
Yeah, I don't know if you're supposed to say that, Brennan.
Maybe you should cut it out. My bad.
No, I don't give. Hey, listen. I'll call him and say, hey, I announced this, but
I don't know if Ethan's made that announcement yet.
Well, he
told so many people. He told so
many
people.
Yeah.
I thought it was okay.
Hey, it's announced now.
Hopefully he's not watching this.
Yeah.
But like, that's a good example though. Like Ethan was at a D2 school. Now he's at a D1 school. Fargo can be a big step for, if you show up, that's the big point of showing up. If you show up and then you wrestle good, that's where you get those coaches looking at you. Like it's so big for you to show up at these big tournaments like Fargo, Ironman, Super 32, NHSCA's, just for the college coaches to see you. And like, if you don't do that, you're not going to get to that next level. If you just stay in Florida and wrestle in Florida, you're not going to go to that next level of D1, even any NAIA school, any D2 school.
And
staying in Florida won't help you.
Seeing these college coaches on the floor and talking to them, yeah, obviously they'd all like to have the All-American or they all like to have the national champion. But there were so many kids in that arena. Maybe they went 0-2 in freestyle, but then went 3-2 in Greco. But a coach saw their fight and the kids they went against and the potential they had, and they were like, you know what? I want that kid, right? Or they might have seen a kid that got maybe lost that first match, but grinded out 5 wins on the way back, and then maybe lost before the blood round or lost after that 5th win, but lost to a national ranked kid, and it was a close match, right? And they're going to look at that kid and go, yeah, I want that kid, right? So it's not necessarily talking to these coaches. It's not necessarily, I'm only here for the guy that wins it all. They're also looking for that kid. Obviously there's the Iowa and there's the Ohio State and there's the Penn State and so on and so forth. And they're taking that guy, right? But for 98% of Division I, they're not that guy, right? They're looking for guys that they can grow, that have the potential, that have the fight. I noticed that. Is that something you noticed?
They're looking for those guys. They're looking for those guys that are like, say you lose a match, looking for those guys that will fight back. That won't just give up after they lose a match. Like say you lose in the semis, we call it the semi slide and just lose the rest of your match. College coaches aren't looking for that. Like if you make it to the semis, they want to see you perform even though you lose. Like I think my coaches at Little Rock were happy for me, even though I didn't place in freestyle. that they saw that I came back in Greco and I won the title. But even if I would have placed, they still would have been happy seeing that I bounced back after a bunch of losses. College coaches aren't looking for that kid that if he loses a match, he just shuts down. They're looking for that kid that if he loses a match, is he still going to fight for his title? And then if they see that, that's what they're going to be able to work with. And if they see kids with fight, they're going to want that kid that will fight for his spot.
Yeah, because it seems like at this elite level, when I watch the elite tournaments or the elite brackets, most people are wrestling back. I mean, there's not too many kids that are walking through these brackets without a loss or on the championship side. Obviously, there's those percenters, right? But at these big tournaments like this, most people got to win 8, 10, 12. I remember Cooper telling me last year he won 8 matches or something, and he didn't even get to the blood round. And
yeah, I know. A kid from our team, Austin Foy, he lost his first match. He ended up going 10-2 and didn't even place in Greco.
look at that. But a college coach is going to be like, yo, especially big guys, right? Because most big guys go play football. So
Yep.
big guy, they got huge opportunities in wrestling, right?
Yeah, I think
Yep.
Malik Hines lost first round at Super 32. Maybe it was Fargo. I don't know. One of the two. And he wrestled all the way back for like third.
That's like what 12,
Yeah,
13
it's
matches right there. You go.
insanely crazy. But I remember him doing that at one of the tournaments. He lost first round. Maybe it was Super 32, I think. And then he went all the way back to third. That was incredible.
Oh, it's awesome. Well, man, hey, I really appreciate you guys coming on with me. Obviously, man, I love both you guys. I can't wait to see what you do at the next level. And good luck. And I hope I can get out there and watch you guys wrestle. Maybe Javi will let me come up and still shoot you guys sometimes, right? I get
Yeah, for sure. That'd be sick.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, hey, I appreciate you guys. Go back and do whatever it is you